Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're here for another crypto boot camp here on Sunday. We did one last week, the debut one for this cycle, and we're going to cover a lot more stuff today. We covered a lot last week. If you rewatched the video, that's great. And you can always go check back or mark off a certain time that you want to rewatch, maybe more than once if you were confused on a new topic or anything like that. So welcome back to the folks who are here, and I will keep a watch as people join along the way here. So again, just to remind everyone here, the reason why I'm doing this is because for most people, you can go ask people about real estate or rental properties or even stocks. You can even walk into your bank, and that's old news. It's been around for generations. With cryptos, it's new. And I mean, who do you approach? Most people don't even know one or two other people that really know cryptos. And even I only know a few. And so it becomes something where if you don't have any guidance, you feel lost. And then all of a sudden, this bull market might be coming soon, as we expect. And you're going to be in the middle of a bull market trying to figure it out. That's really tricky. Um, that's like me dropping you off in Florida and you've never been there or invested there before, and you got to figure it out. You probably need some guidance. And that's my hope here. That's what I did in 2020, 2021. And I was able to educate people along the way and even in advance of the big rally, which is exactly where we are right now. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over a lot more stuff here. Um, we are going to go over all kinds of different stuff today. Let me just share here. Um, again, the boot camp here, it's free this week. It was free last week. Next week will be subscription. So after today's session, you could go to the website. Feel free to subscribe, join. It's $150 a month. Click on the services tab at investlikemike.com services. And if you just scroll right there, you'll see the weekly training session. You can actually just click on the store as well. And if you click on the crypto bootcamp, it'll bring you through here and you can sign up. The payment's done through Stripe payments, nice and secure. I think it's the biggest payment system that there is there on the internet. So you go here, investlikemike.com to the store page, and you could sign up for that crypto boot camp. You just click subscribe at the bottom, folks, and it'll bring you through the Stripe payment system, and you can subscribe there, put your email, and I'm going to create a Facebook group. And when I'm done creating that Facebook group, basically that's where I will end up posting my link every week. And that's where you can see the Zoom link every week for the future sessions. Then you're going to be able to catch this video with me. And right now you've been experiencing the free ones where I posted the link to the general group. Okay, so going forward, you will have to subscribe, and we'll start up a special new Facebook group just for the crypto boot camp. Again, disclaimer, I'm just a guy on the internet sharing what I'm doing. Obviously, do your own research and know that it's risky, and you shouldn't just copy what I'm doing without, maybe doing your own research and figuring out the risks. I'm trying to share my knowledge with you guys. Okay. We're going to go through, like I said, a whole bunch more stuff today. I'm going to go over meme coins towards the end. There's a new meme coin I just bought today. I posted about it in the group, and I'm just sharing it with the Crypto Bootcamp folks. And with the regular group, I do post quite a bit in there, but sometimes there's a time sensitive thing where, like, I just bought this today. And so I'm going to let you know in the future, even if it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I'll just post an extra video. It won't be live necessarily, but I'll just make a video explaining what I did, or make a post and a chart analysis and put it specifically in that group to say, hey, I just got into this one, here's why, or I just took profits and got out of this one that we were already watching, and here's why. Okay, so I'm going to provide extra content and extra stuff for you guys here. And next week, when we go to the subscription and we start with the paid version, I'm going to go through my list of all my top cryptos, all the cryptos I own right now, and give you the full inside view of what I'm doing and what I'm owning and what's on my watch list as well. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to get started here. And we're going to have a lot to go through today. Again, feel free to rewatch the video, do what you got to do. You can mark down the time, maybe that there was a certain topic if you'd like. and then rewatch it when I post it tomorrow. We still got some people popping in here. So last week, one of the big things that we went over was my crypto catalyst list. And, this is something that I think is important that I've summarized nicely for you guys. And there might be even more than 10 catalysts, but these are the 10 big ones that I'm pointing out to you guys. All of these might be new to you. Some of you might be fairly beginner at this. And I know some of you are actually. And whereas this stuff is, if you do real estate, you have to know what a cap rate is. When I started doing real estate, I didn't know what the heck a cap rate was. There's certain terms that are easy and basic for a real estate investor that you might not know if you're newer. And the same applies to cryptos, even stocks, and all kinds of different things. And I'm trying to point out some of them to you guys here. Again, feel free to do further research on those on your own time. I went through quite a few of them last week. And in future sessions, I'll do full highlights on some of these, including today. Okay. So one thing I want to start off with is, how do you buy Bitcoin? So we all know you can go to Coinbase, MetaMask, Kraken, crypto.com, all these places, and you can buy your cryptos there if you'd like. And there's also a way to buy them through the stock market. And so I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out to you guys, because some of you are more comfortable or trusting even to buy something through your regular stock market account where you hold Apple and Microsoft. And maybe you don't fear someone hacking you or stealing your stocks, but maybe you're not comfortable with the crypto websites as much. Okay, so I want to point that out to you guys. I do both. I do both myself. And you'll remember last week we talked about BlackRock and other firms. There's 11 of them, and they applied for ETFs in the fall of last year. You'll remember in October, November of last year, I was screaming super bullish about Bitcoin and cryptos and Solana at 20 bucks, and I laid out my thesis, and it was because they were all applying for these ETFs, and they got approval in January. So we had a huge rally there, and this was the big catalyst that kind of led to it in the early part of this year. So I want to go over these ones, and I want to kind of explain some of the other ways that I've been using to invest in cryptos. Okay, so MicroStrategy. You might not be familiar with it. If you're in my group, you hear me talking about MicroStrategy all the time. So MicroStrategy is a company that is run by a gentleman named Michael Saylor. He's at all the big conferences. He's on like every podcast, CNBC, all the time. And he's kind of like Michael Burry from The Big Short. He's a numbers guy. He's a chess player with finance. He can see the value coming and put all the logic together, and he kind of tries to catch the longer term move on things like Bitcoin. So he's not short term focused. He just keeps adding to his position after a crash and adding along the way. This is something that is right on the official stock market that you can buy like a regular stock. Okay. I want to make sure that I point that out to you guys and show you just how many Bitcoins these guys own too. So if you look over here, you can see here that it's showing how many Bitcoins they own, right? And if you look on the left of your screen, they were around 21,000 Bitcoins in August of 2020. And even just recently, you see it just jumped up right there, 244,000 Bitcoins. So you could see that every time they get new investors, every time they get new loans or new money or anything, they buy more Bitcoin with it. Okay. So what they do is they take your money, they buy Bitcoin with it, and they even borrow against all of your money to get extra money lent to them. It's called like a margin or just a loan or a line of credit. And maybe you give them 100 grand and they have 150 or 200 grand to buy Bitcoin with. And so they actually go up more than Bitcoin does. Compared to the Bitcoin chart, MicroStrategy tends to outperform because they leverage and use additional money that they've been lent to buy additional Bitcoins. And then when all of those go up in value, you benefit from the profit of all those extra Bitcoins. Okay. So MicroStrategy, again, it's run by Michael Saylor. You're welcome to go check out their website. They used to do something completely different, business intelligence mobile software, and he took them over and said, "We are now a company that just buys and holds Bitcoin, and this is the biggest thing on earth that will attract investors." And he was correct. And you can see how many Bitcoins they've now purchased. So let me go to the chart here. So this is tradingview.com. This is the main website I use. Again, you can use the tools that I'm showing you here for free on tradingview.com. So right now, again, this is showing a candle chart. I'm going to get rid of the moving averages and get rid of the volume. When you're looking at these candles, folks, it's kind of like a connect the dots type thing. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm just visually with your eyes, I'm just kind of connecting the dots, and I happen to use a candle chart, but if you get confused when you see it, it's essentially just kind of a connect the dots type thing, and it's showing the flow and the direction of the market. So I just drew a line over top of it just so you could see what I'm talking about there. And if I click up here where there's a picture of these candles, I can always change it to a line. And if you prefer to just see a line like that, that's fine too. Okay. So let me pull up MicroStrategy MSTR. Okay, MicroStrategy MSTR. It's the first one that comes up on the NASDAQ. So this one here, I'm going to get rid of my drawings for you guys. There we go. Okay. So when you're looking at this here, I mean, you can see that the chart has basically just kind of gone up. And obviously there's some choppiness to it, so to speak, but you could see that it's going up. And I explained to you on the last session that a bull trend or a rally looks like a staircase. And I'm sure that now you can see the staircase, right? And you can see that it goes up and it comes down, and it goes up and it comes down. And it just kind of keeps doing that for the most part during the bull market, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my mouse wheel and kind of scroll out here, and we're going to bring you back in time. Okay, I'm going to show you what MicroStrategy did in 2020, 2021. Look at that chart. Look at that chart. This is 2020 here, and this is the election. So I'm going to get my arrows here. So the election happened right about there. Okay. And that's where we are right now in 2024. In 2020, I'm showing it here. That's where it was. It was around 17 or 16 bucks. And it went up to $127 after the election. Okay. It also went up, in 2020, it started at 10 or 11 bucks, and it already went to about 16 or 17 by the election. But the big rally came after the election. Okay. And it's one of those things where if you look at what happened in the past and you think maybe you've missed out, I'm trying to show you that, the biggest part of the rally is typically after the US election. And I was showing you the banana zone rally there with the pictures of the bananas overlaid on the chart. And it kind of just shows that like the main part of the cycle is still coming. So again, that arrow is pointing at the 2020 US election right there. It was November 3rd or 4th there. And you could see that it went up. Let's see here. It went up a good 500-600% after the election. Okay. And then obviously it came down afterwards when the crypto market was over. And there was all kinds of different things going on there. So this is one that I wanted to point out to you guys and show you that right now, let's go to the current chart. Current chart here, you'll see that we had a really big rally right here, and that lines up with the ETF announcement. Here's January 2024. That's when they approved the ETFs, and you could see how much MicroStrategy went up because we had ETF approval. We had a big catalyst in place there. And now we have the post-election rally and the banana zone rally that we're talking about, where I feel we're going to get something like that as well. So just over here, it went up 300-400% basically back then. Okay. So And I want to point out something else to you. I'm pretty big on charts and following trends. So I'm going to draw this for you. This is something called a pennant pattern. I showed it to you a little bit last week. I post about it a lot in my groups. It's a triangular pattern. And when you just went up a lot in value and you're still in the bull market, it's not over yet, but they're waiting for the next catalyst, which is the election. Um, you'll see that it just kind of bounces around sideways here. It just kind of bounces around in this triangle pattern. And then when you get to the next catalyst, which right now we're leading right up to the election, you can see that it's already breaking out to the upside already. Okay. And this is something that I pointed out last week, and I'm going to show you some more of it again this week. But it's very common to have these holding patterns where it just kind of chops sideways and pauses for a while, and then it breaks out later. I like to explain it that way because Gino at the beginning of the call was saying if you're not zoomed out on the chart, you're just kind of confused. A lot of people, if you're not zooming out, all you focus on is that it crashed over here, maybe, and you don't know this pattern and you're not zooming out like this. You're just saying, holy crap, MicroStrategy fell from 192 to 102. It fell 40, 50% in value. And now you just think it's scary and risky. And it is somewhat risky for sure. This isn't Visa or MasterCard or anything. But that drop is just part of this sideways holding pattern, which happens leading up to the next rally. And you can see it's already broken out. So this is something I've been pointing out for a while. And way back in April and May over here, when I did my training courses, I said, we're going to see a pattern coming up to the election. And that sideways choppy pattern or whatever it is, I'll point it out. And we're going to break out of that leading up to and after the election. I've been saying that all summer. And MicroStrategy already has broken out of this pattern. And I want to point out to you, Bitcoin didn't even do this yet. Look how far above it went. Like this was the March high of about $193. MicroStrategy already went to 236. It already made a new high for this year. Okay. Now, why does that matter? I'm going to show you the pattern recognition. I remember this stuff because I have a really good memory for it. This is what I do, and I remember this, but I want to point it out to you guys. Look at the big choppy sideways pattern for Bitcoin here, okay? Right there, okay? And if you look at it, it's not that same pennant pattern. It's not the exact same one as MicroStrategy. They will have different types of patterns. But if you look at it, essentially, it's kind of traveling in this channel. And I'll show you, this is something called a bull flag. So after a big bull rally, it goes into this flag-shaped rally. Think of this as your flag pole. And then you get a flag chopping down there. And that's called a bull flag. After a bull move, like earlier this year, it will go into this flag shape. Look right now, it's currently just starting to break out of that pattern. MicroStrategy broke out and went a lot higher already. Bitcoin didn't even go to its March high yet. So you can see what I mean, that MicroStrategy is ahead of Bitcoin. And I think the reason is if they buy $1 billion of Bitcoin with your money, they also borrow another $250 million or $500 million from the bank, and they buy 1.5 billion of Bitcoin for you, even though you guys might have given them $1 billion. Okay. Bitcoin doesn't do that. It's just the value of Bitcoin. There's no leverage, there's no extra loans and stuff like that. So you could see that MicroStrategy is ahead because of this. That's what I believe. And Bitcoin still technically hasn't really broken out of that pattern. It's just hanging on at the top of it and it's ready to launch. Okay. And I want to make sure I show you that difference between MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. Okay. So as I told someone recently, if you're buying MicroStrategy for the first time, understand you're buying something that's already gone up a lot. So if something weird happens in the next few weeks, it could dip and you'll be down on your position right away. Technically, that could happen. It just doubled in value from the beginning of September until now. Okay. I still feel it's going way higher, but I'm just pointing out that if something weird happens, it could kind of dip down and go higher later. Okay. And I think that's important to point out so that you guys understand where it is and where it might go and the risks associated with it. Okay. Um, if you guys end up having extra questions on this, I'll stick around at the end, no problem if you want to go through some extra questions. Let's keep going with some of the other stuff. Okay. How else can we buy cryptos through the stock market? Okay. So that's one of them. There are other ETFs. Okay. So if you trust BlackRock and you know nothing about MicroStrategy, and maybe you just prefer the brand name of BlackRock, the biggest hedge fund on earth, I'm going to show you something else now. Look right away, my technical analysis on the screen already showing you the holding pattern. It's exactly the same as Bitcoin. Okay, so we made a March peak, just like MicroStrategy, just like Bitcoin. And now this is BlackRock. Look how it's chopping around in a bull flag again, right? We had a big bull run over here, the beginning of the year. And then people took profits in the summer, kind of like they always do. And we go into some kind of a shape sideways. Okay. This one is a bull flag. Sometimes it's a pennant pattern, like I showed you as well on the earlier chart. And even though you might not be able to draw these and the names might sound confusing to you, with me here following along, I'm going to just show them to you, right? And after repetition over time, you'll learn some of them as well, and you'll get more out of what I post in my regular free group as well by learning here with me. Okay, so you'll see here that Bitcoin is actually ahead of BlackRock, right? Bitcoin's already starting to break out of that pattern a little bit. And let me just drag this down a little bit. BlackRock's just slightly under them, and MicroStrategy is ahead of all of these, right? So I do see more momentum on that MicroStrategy chart, which is why I kind of pointed it out to you guys. Okay. So again, you're seeing a common pattern and a common shape again. Okay. I'm going to show you another one by Van Eck. Bitcoin, I think it's HODL. There you go. HODL. Okay, so IBIT, IBIT is the BlackRock fund. HODL, HODL, which is an acronym for Hold On for Dear Life. It's kind of a crypto term amongst the younger folks and everything. You'll see here again, I'm going to do the drawing for you. You'll see that Van Eck is also in a bull flag. Now, you might not even know what a bull flag was or that they existed or zoomed out on a chart like this before, but I just showed you 3 charts in a row with the same pattern. That's what I'm trying to get across to you guys is it's not as random and erratic as Fox News or CNN or CBC might make you think. It's actually just doing the same thing it always does. It always has a pattern like this where it goes sideways or down in this pattern, and then it breaks out after the election. I've been watching this and expecting this to happen all year because, I've been through 3 cycles and I think I know what I'm talking about for the stuff like this. I don't know everything, but I know the basics really well. And to me, this is basic. If you're new, this is pretty high level, I guess, right? It's just new to you. Kind of like learning a cap rate as a real estate investor. It'll seem real weird to you at first, but any sophisticated real estate investor, they know how a cap rate works. Okay. So I'm sure you're seeing the pattern now that Bitcoin and VanEck and IBIT are all in this holding pattern, just waiting for the election, waiting for the banana zone rally. Okay. So there are 11 of them. You guys are welcome to go look up articles like this. It'll list off all the different ones. Kathy Wood has one with ARK Invest. There's a number of different ones. I'm highlighting VanEck and I'm highlighting BlackRock because those are 2 giant financial institutions and portfolio managers that I personally like and trust. Okay. But you're welcome to go look up all of the different 11 firms. There are articles that will list them off for you as well. Okay. So what are some other ways to do it as well? I went over MicroStrategy here. I'm going to tell you about another one. This one is more risky, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm invested in it, and I heard about it through a couple of friends. So this one's called MSTU. Okay. And So it looks like Bloomberg wants me to subscribe here, folks. But this one's called MSTU. It's an ETF that has volatility built into it. And you'll see that the MSTU fund tracks 200% leverage. Okay, so what does that mean? What that means is basically if you invest $1,000, they're borrowing another 750 or 2,000, or sorry, 750 or $1,000, and they're buying two shares instead of one share. So they're leveraging, okay? And if you're familiar with margin or lines of credit and things like that, that's basically what they're doing. I have an Interactive Brokers account. You could be with RBC or TD Waterhouse or whatever. If you have a stock options account, I do options trading. You put in 10 grand, they'll let you bet 20 or 30 grand, even though you put 10 in. Now, if the trade goes the wrong way on you, you're losing twice as much. So it's risky in that way. But if the trade goes the right way, you make potentially twice as much. Okay. So if uh if you have something like MicroStrategy going up 5% tomorrow, MSTU, okay, this one will go up 10%. And that literally has happened recently where MicroStrategy went up 10%, this one went up 20 or 21%. It's double the return because they're borrowing twice as much money and buying twice as many shares with your cash. Okay. And rather than someone trying to figure out margin and borrowing themselves, they just do it for you and they manage that on your behalf, so to speak. Okay. So with MSTU, I will warn you, it is more risky. And if if COVID comes back tomorrow and the market all crashes, this will crash twice as much as MicroStrategy will. So when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. And so just understand that there is that extra risk. It swings up harder and it falls down harder as well. Okay. I want to make sure that not to scare you away, but just to let you know how that works. Okay. So let's just show you quickly MSTR. And I'm going to delete my old drawings and I'm going to go to the candle chart because we can very clearly see the candle. There you go. I want to see how much it went up on a specific day. So see this big green candle? That's from Thursday. At the bottom of your screen is a little black box. It says Thursday, October 24th. Okay. So when you're looking at that here, I hover over the big green candle. And if you look right here on your screen where I put that black circle, when I hover over the green candle, it says plus 10.25%. That's how much it went up that day. Okay. O means open, H is the high of the day, L is the low of the day, and the C is where it closed. Okay. Just so if you're wondering what those details mean there. And the one I circled, it shows 10.5%, sorry, 10.25%. It went up on Thursday. Okay. So MicroStrategy went up 10.25%. Let's go look up MSTU. It should be up around 20% on Thursday. Just want to show you how it works so you're not just taking my word for it. You hover over the green candle, it went up 21.4%. Okay. So it went up double. Okay. A little more than double. Okay. Now, again, on this big red day here on Monday, the 14th of October, this one went down 10.24%. Okay, let's call it 10% on October 14th. MicroStrategy, October 14th, it went down 5%, right? So you make more, but you also lose more. Okay, and I want to make sure I'm very upfront in explaining that to you guys in terms of the risk of it. Okay. So you use that information how you wish and bounce it off other people you trust and figure out what you do or don't want to do with these. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Okay. And with these ones here, they're ahead of Bitcoin. That's the other thing to point out as well, is that Bitcoin hasn't even broken out yet, and these ones are already shooting higher and making all-time highs. Okay. So those are ones that I want to point out to you, and these are ones that I am bullish on. Again, short term, anything can happen, but if we get that big Bitcoin rally coming in the next 6 or 12 months, all these people do is buy and hold Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin goes to 100,000 or $150,000, then naturally they should be worth more money because they own a whole lot of Bitcoin. Okay. And they're doing that on your behalf. Okay. So again, feel free to research those. MSTU, they'll have a website. MSTR, MicroStrategy, will have a website, and you can find plenty of podcasts with Michael Saylor on them. Okay. Now, here's another one. Cryptocurrency exchanges. Some people use MetaMask, Kraken, Crypto.com, all these different things. Coinbase is really the biggest exchange outside of maybe Binance. Okay, so Binance has been around forever. I think it's been around maybe even since Bitcoin started in 2008. It's been around for a long time. Other ones like Coinbase and other ones, maybe they weren't there for the whole cycle necessarily, and they might be a little newer. Coinbase is the largest crypto exchange where you can go to their website, open up an account with them where you can hold your cryptos and buy your cryptos through them. And they're the only one that's listed on the stock exchange. There's no Binance stock, there's no Kraken stock, there's no crypto.com stock. There is a Coinbase stock. So if you want to play the crypto exchanges, and this is the second largest exchange in the world. And if I were to ask people to name a crypto exchange, most people know what Coinbase is. If you just kind of walk around and ask people, it's very well known. They talk about it on CNBC all the time. Kathy Wood, the famous portfolio manager, has this in her portfolio for years, and it gets talked about a lot. Okay. Um, so I want to point that out to you, and that it's the only one I'm aware of listed in the stock market. So sometimes you invest in gold if you're interested in buying gold. Sometimes you buy a gold miner, and they're the ones that mine the gold and pull it out of the ground. Well, Coinbase is the one selling the cryptos to people, right? Um, and let me just zoom out here. Okay, just gonna get rid of this stuff here. Okay, so again, there's the March peak. I'm gonna turn this into a line chart so you guys can probably see it better. There you go. So you'll see here that Coinbase hasn't even come close to breaking out of this kind of range or somewhat of a pattern it's been in. This one is kind of a weird shape. It's like a megaphone shape. Okay. And again, after the March peak over here, it went into a choppy pattern and sideways or down or whatever. And you would think that this was going to break out, because if everyone starts buying Bitcoin in the coming months and whatnot, this is, the number one or number two known exchange on earth. And a lot of people will go buy their cryptos through Coinbase. Okay. Um, Over here in February, there you go. They beat earnings by 4,600% over here. Okay. That's not an error. They had a certain earnings expectations and they beat it by 4,638%. It's because everyone was rushing into cryptos right here. When BlackRock and all of those big companies announced their ETFs, everyone was rushing to buy cryptos, and Coinbase got a ton of that business. You could see it right there. You know, they got a ton of business in February, and the ETFs were made official in January, right before this big rally for Coinbase. So if there's a big rally coming after the election, MicroStrategy is already breaking out, Bitcoin's about to break out, a bunch of people are going to buy this again, just like over here after the ETF announcement. I think over here after the election, we're going to get, Coinbase following Bitcoin, following MicroStrategy higher. It's just lagging at the moment. Okay. And so, this is something that friends of mine and people that have approached me personally, it's something I told people. I said, maybe you spread your money out amongst Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, BlackRock, and Coinbase, right? Maybe you buy a little bit of those if you choose to. This is a strategy that I've been employing, and I'm now sharing it with the Crypto Bootcamp here. Okay. So I've just shown you a bunch of different ways that you can be associated with cryptos. And I want to explain to you, like, I mentioned gold. Okay, so this is the price of gold. You can just go buy bars and coins that are made out of gold and buy them yourself. And you can also buy gold ETFs. GLD is an ETF. There's Bitcoin ETFs. There's gold ETFs and gold trusts. and they just buy the gold for you, right? But what about gold miners, right? You can buy AEM is one I recommended back in February. I think it was only what was the price, 40 or 50 bucks here, and this went up to 80, 90 bucks. There's people that bought Anglico Eagle mines back here when I recommended it around 40, 50 bucks, and they're still holding it today at 80 bucks, and they didn't have to buy a bar of gold and hide it under their mattress or anything. They just bought this miner, right? You don't even have to actually buy gold to play gold. That's the way I'm looking at Coinbase. Okay. You could buy gold, or you can buy the picks and shovels. You can buy Bitcoin, or you could buy the biggest seller of Bitcoin, that one of the most popular ones out there. And I want to make sure I show you guys that difference. Okay. So what else we got here? Okay, here's another one. Okay, so I'm going from what I consider less risky to what I consider more risky now. So these are Bitcoin miners. Okay, if you don't understand what Bitcoin mining is, there's 450-ish Bitcoins that get released to the market every day right now. Prior to May of this year, it was 900 per day, right? There's this halving cycle I talked about last week, and every 4 years they release half as many new Bitcoins every day. It's now 450 a day instead of 900 per day. So BlackRock and all these people that want to buy all these extra Bitcoins, there's a lot less new ones coming to market. You got to buy your Bitcoin from someone who already owns them, right? You got to find a way to get these Bitcoins. CleanSpark mines the Bitcoins. Okay, so they have these special computers that go through all these processes, and the fastest guy at the end of the race gets the Bitcoin. Okay, and this is what CleanSpark does. So CleanSpark is, let's see here, one of the largest Bitcoin miners in the world. Okay, and this is known as one of the absolute top Bitcoin miners in the world, and they mine amongst the most Bitcoins compared to other miners of Bitcoin. Okay, and essentially these Bitcoin miners will actually hold a bunch of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and they don't even sell them all. They actually kind of keep a bunch of them for themselves too. So when the Bitcoin price goes up, they're mining and holding a bunch of their Bitcoin along the way too. And so when the Bitcoin goes up in value, their holdings go up in value too, and their stock goes up. But what I'm going to show you is that it is more risky and volatile, and it can lag Bitcoin. So CLSK is CleanSpark. Okay, type it in there. So look how this one is down a lot. It's lagging behind Bitcoin and lagging behind MicroStrategy. But what you'll see is, it's almost like magic here. It's going in this bull flag. I described a bull flag for Bitcoin, a bull flag for BlackRock, and now there's a bull flag for CleanSpark. The difference is this one dropped more. It is more volatile. Like, it went from 23 bucks to 8 bucks. It dropped by like 60%. That fell more than Bitcoin. That fell more than BlackRock. So earlier this year, and anytime I've ever posted about this, I try my best to highlight that I consider this even more risky than actual Bitcoin. And I'm showing you why now. Okay, so if I get the little ruler out here, you'll see that it fell 65%. Okay, let's go look at MicroStrategy. How much did MicroStrategy fall from the peak earlier this year? It fell 45%, way less. How much did Bitcoin fall from the beginning of the year at the peak? Okay, let's go here. There's the peak from the ETFs. Bitcoin fell 26%. So you see how MicroStrategy and CleanSpark are technically more volatile or more risky than this one on a short-term basis, meaning, like, in the next 6 months, MicroStrategy will probably go up more than Bitcoin, I think. But this summer, you lost more on MicroStrategy than you lost on Bitcoin. So I want you to understand what I mean by risk. Longer term, MicroStrategy typically goes up more than Bitcoin. So it's worth the risk, in my opinion. But in a short-term correction, you lose more on those, and you lose less on Bitcoin. That's what I'm showing you here. Okay. And so CleanSpark CLSK, that's something I put smaller amounts of money in. Or if you don't like risk and you don't like extra volatility, you're gonna potentially make good money just by owning boring old Bitcoin. Maybe you don't want clean spark, right? Or if you do, maybe you might end up choosing to put less into it. Okay. And I'm just trying to describe to you how I perceive it. Again, this fell 65%, way more than MicroStrategy, way, 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 way more than Bitcoin. Okay. Um, but if it ends up going up, I mean, look at the rally it had here after the Bitcoin ETFs were made official. It went up 237% in February and March. Okay. 237% in February and March for CleanSpark. How much did Bitcoin go up in February and March? It went up 84%. So you made almost triple on CleanSpark compared to Bitcoin. But when it went down, you lost almost triple as much as Bitcoin. So I want to make sure you guys understand that. And this is why I sold CleanSpark earlier in the year. I don't want to hold it during a time when it might dip and we're waiting for the election. And now I might start buying CleanSpark back in the coming weeks because I expect a bull rally, that banana zone. Okay, so just remember, CleanSpark went up triple the amount almost as Bitcoin during the ETF rally, and then it fell almost triple Bitcoin in the summer. So it works both ways, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that. Okay. Does anyone have a question about this as I'm going over it? I just threw all of those at you at once. I made sure to explain it really carefully. Commentary, were you not aware of that? Was there a part where I confused you? Feel free to ask if you want to chime in now, if anyone wants to. Feel free. And I'll stick around at the end if you have questions as well. Okay. Okay. If I don't hear anyone ask a question, we'll just go to the next one here. So again, part of my service here is to make you aware of stuff that you might not be aware of, and I am. A lot of people were buying NVIDIA in November onwards. I was recommending it in my group. They had a brand new product, an AI chip, and they made a lot of money off that. But a lot of people didn't know that Palantir was an AI company. I'm on top of this stuff, and I've heard of Palantir for years, and I was recommending Palantir a year or two ago. It's gone up tremendously in value, and a lot of people weren't aware of it. And me posting chart analysis and what I'm doing allows people to be exposed to it. That's what I'm doing here with the crypto stuff. Okay. And I'm not saying you should go buy them, do your own research, but I'm exposing you to the information and explaining to you, which ones went up more, which ones went down more, so you can get a clearer picture and understand the risk or the bullishness that exists in these things based on what it's already done before. Okay. Let's get into some more stuff here, guys. Let's get into some more stuff and let's go here. Okay. So there's some other stuff I'll go over next week on how you can buy Solana and other stuff potentially in the stock market, but I want to get through some other stuff. We talked about that banana zone rally last week. And again, when you look on your screen here, you'll see that in 2012, there was an election. Right after the election, banana zone rally. 2016, Trump won the election. Banana zone rally for Bitcoin. 2020, Joe Biden won the election. Banana zone rally. That's the biggest part of the move. Right now, we haven't done that yet. Like that is still potentially coming. And you could see here that that's what happens in the previous cycles. We're expecting this to happen. I guess if we have World War III or COVID Part 2 or something, that could not happen or be delayed, I guess. But even during COVID, we got the banana zone rally, right? Like COVID did not stop the banana zone rally. We still got it here in 2020. For those of you thinking that if Donald Trump wins, it's good for cryptos, and if Kamala Harris wins, it's bad for cryptos, I don't really agree with that. Trump lost the election here, and we still got the banana zone rally. I just think if Trump wins, we'll go up even more. That's all. It's steroids, right? So you could still be a bodybuilder without steroids, but you'll get bigger muscles, I guess, if you take steroids. That's how I'm looking at Trump. I think we go up under Joe Biden or Kamala or Trump is the way I'm looking at this over here. Okay. And I'm showing you why. So let's go over some extra stuff. Let's build upon this. Okay. So here's the stock to flow chart I showed you last week. Plan B. I hope you followed Plan B on YouTube. His videos might go over your head if you're not a charts or technical person, but you'll remember last week I explained to you guys that when we get these red circles during the Bitcoin cycle, the red circles are right around the election. Okay. And I'm just going to scroll down a little bit more so you can see the dates at the bottom. There we go. Okay, so red circles here, 2016, right? There's your 2016 Trump election. Happened right here at the red dots. Okay, your Joe Biden election happened right here at the red dots. Now we have a Trump and Kamala election right at the red dots. After the red dots is the banana zone rally. There it is, right? There it is. And now I believe we're going into the banana zone rally. Okay. So again, if something weird happens in the world, I guess it can be delayed. But all the other cycles work that way. Okay. Even in 2012 over here, when I think Obama was running against Mitt Romney or something like that, banana zone rally right after the election. Okay. You can see it real clear here. Okay. Now, what else do I want to show you? Because I'm pretty good at pattern recognition. And even though it's right in front of your face, you might not pick it up. What happens after the red dots? You start going into an orange dot. Okay. So we went from red to orange over here. We went from red to orange over here, right around the election. Red to orange over here, right around the election. If you look real close, we're turning orange. The red dots, they're actually turning orange right now. The election is like a week away, guys. So that's not a coincidence. We go from red to orange as we approach the election. And you can see it plain as day right here on all the previous elections. As soon as you start going from red to orange, you're coming up to that election. Okay. And if you hover over the chart, you'll see dates here. Right there. That's the election. Right there. Okay. The election happened right here where the red became orange. If you look at the bottom, you'll see 2016-11. That's November. The red dots turned orange right when the election happened. That is the election right there when the red turned orange. We're doing it right now. Okay. And after that, it turns yellow, which is the color of a banana. It's the banana zone rally. Okay. That's kind of an easy way to try to remember it. Okay. So I want to make sure I point that out to you guys. Okay. Hopefully you're seeing some pattern recognition and the cycles starting to line up a little bit. Okay. This is something I got here, and this is the past cycles versus this cycle. Okay. So what do I mean by that? Okay. I'm going to show you. So you'll see we have the 2016 rally shown in white. So you see this white line right here. That's 2016. Okay. You have the greenish kind of color, gray green here. That's right there. That's the 2020 Joe Biden election rally. Okay. And now you'll see here, we have this kind of more pale white here. That's the current rally, and it's all the way down here. Okay. So what it's showing you is that the biggest part of the move happens after the election, right? So this would be when the election happened in all three of those cycles. And there's your banana zone rally, there's your banana zone rally, and we believe that the current one is also going into a banana zone rally. So my point of this is, we are in the same spot we were in previous cycles where we're ready to take off, and you could see them all kind of lining up together, right? You can even see right here how they all kind of, were moving in a similar pattern, and then they take off after the election. So we're in the same position we were in previous cycles. Okay. Now here's the Bitcoin pattern recognition. So I've showed you that we have these kind of pennant patterns and these different things on the charts. Notice how they come up repeatedly on the charts a lot of the time. And what it's showing you here is that so here's Bitcoin in green. Okay, this is that green line over here is Bitcoin. Okay, right there. And then the bottom line is showing total liquidity. Okay, so all of the investable capital in the world okay? And I want to explain something to you here, okay? Um, Notice how they form these pennant patterns, these triangles that I've been showing you, okay? So these are periods of time where they weren't creating much new money. So, the amount of global liquidity, this white line represents all the money that exists on Earth for any fund managers or people to invest with, okay? And every time it breaks out of one of these triangle shapes, like right here, that means there's more global money, there's more global liquidity. They're printing money, they're loaning money, they're doing something so that these hedge funds and regular people have more money to invest in things with or spend on things. Okay. Now, why am I pointing this out? In 2015, 2016, we broke out of that triangle pattern and more money existed in the world. Okay. Look what happened to Bitcoin. Okay. In 2019, 2020, what happened? COVID happened. They printed $2 trillion. And they also were lowering interest rates before COVID. A lot of people forget that. At the end of in 2019, they started lowering interest rates. When you have lower interest rates, you're able to lend more from the bank. Then they printed $2 trillion. We broke out of that triangle. Look what happened to Bitcoin. It broke out right after when global liquidity, total global money broke out of its sideways pattern and we had more money to bet with, we had a rally. Look at right now. Look at right now. In 2022, at the bottom of your screen, they started hiking rates. That's why we went into this sideways triangle pattern. When they raise rates from 1.5% to 6% on your mortgage, a lot less people qualify for mortgages and your home goes down in value. You can't get another line of credit. And so you could see that it makes sense that right when they raised interest rates, the global liquidity went flat sideways or down. You can't get a loan and you can't get as much of a loan. Look right here. Look right here. Do you see right there? Hopefully, if you zoom in or if you look real close, we just broke out of that triangle pattern right there. Okay. I think it's because they've lowered interest rates and because even real estate that was dipping in Canada, some of it has started rebounding. They're doing all kinds of things. Even in Canada, they're giving longer amortizations. That means you can borrow money easier, right? And so, on a global perspective, the US is going to keep cutting rates over and over and over again. There's longer amortizations for regular people getting mortgages. This is going to lead to an increase in global liquidity. So we're breaking out of these triangles and we have an election coming. So we have more money that people have to invest with globally, as we're showing here. And we have a catalyst with the banana zone rally and the election coming. This is a bunch of things converging at the same time. Okay. So I just want to make sure that I show that to you. And again, every time we break out of these triangles and you have more money on Earth to bet with, Bitcoin goes up. More money to bet with, Bitcoin goes up. Right now, we have more money to bet with, and every time they lower rates, that's going to go higher, I believe, and we're going into the banana zone. So it makes sense, I think. Hopefully, now that I've explained it, hopefully that makes sense to you, the pattern recognition of it. Okay. I'm going to go over something else here, Bitcoin dominance. You might not be aware of this, but we have people buying Bitcoin and that's kind of, people don't even know what some of these other cryptos like Solana even are. Okay. So you kind of just buy what you know. Okay. And what ends up happening is you'll notice that this is 2020 right here. There we go. Okay. So you see here, January 2020, July 2020. Okay. You'll notice that people were buying a lot of Bitcoin here in 2020. Okay. But you'll notice that this was right around the time of the election. So that, the beginning of the banana zone rally, a bunch of people just buy Bitcoin. That red arrow I just drew, if you look at the bottom of your chart here, that's right after the election, right? January of 2021, right before that was the 2020 election. So when the election happened, we got this rise up in Bitcoin dominance. Okay. And you'll notice what happened in January of 2021 was people had all this extra money from Bitcoin and they started hearing about it on TV all the time and researching all these other cryptos. And then the Bitcoin dominance dropped. And the reason why that is, folks, or part of the reason is when you make a whole bunch of money on Bitcoin, you take some of your profits and people sprinkle them into these other coins. If you make a bunch of money on Tesla, you might sprinkle it into Nvidia and Palantir and other stuff in the stock market. Well, when the Bitcoin goes up a lot and people start researching it and hearing about all these other cryptos, now the Bitcoin dominance goes down and people actually start buying those other coins because they haven't rallied as much as Bitcoin yet. Okay. And I want to show you that that happens, right around the election there. Bitcoin peaks in dominance, and then you get it coming down, and all the other cryptos start dominating. Okay. Right now, if we go to a 6-month view here, there we go. So just showing the past 6 months. There we go. You'll see that Bitcoin is trending higher here. Okay. I think it's going to, end up trending even higher after the election, just like 2020. And then it'll be all over the news again, and people will sprinkle their Bitcoin profits into other stuff as well. Okay. And we're going to start to see the Bitcoin dominance, I believe, drop. Okay. Here again, you'll see another way to view Bitcoin dominance as well. There's many different websites that'll show you the Bitcoin dominance chart. So here's a chart showing crypto dominance. So what this is showing is the blue line is Bitcoin. People are just buying more and more and more Bitcoin. Okay. Ethereum, it's actually dropping. There's less and less buyers of Ethereum. Here's the other ones, right? They dropped in the summer, right? People kind of sold those off. Those are expected to turn around and head up at some point later this year onwards. We're expecting these altcoins, these non-Bitcoin cryptos, to start going up in value. And I'm trying to show you the difference here. So they lag Bitcoin right now. And then sometime after the election, within a few months, they actually start turning upwards and people put some of their Bitcoin profits into these other cryptos. Okay. And if you look on the chart closely here, again, the election was right here. You see Bitcoin went up. Here's January 2021. This Bitcoin dominance went down. So what does that mean? What that means is that a lot of people that were normally buying Bitcoin, they started buying Ethereum. This burgundy red line down here, it started going up right after the election there. This blue line here, this kind of light blue, it started going up late 2020, early 2021, right? So Solana and some of these other coins. I'm showing you that this is coming, I think. Okay, so at some point, the Bitcoin dominance here is going to come down. And then these ones down here, the other cryptos that exist, should start going up later this year or early next year, just like 2021. See over here, right? That burgundy line started going up. That blue line, right? All the other cryptos started going up and Bitcoin dominance came down. That doesn't mean the price of Bitcoin came down. It just means that people were now buying these other coins more aggressively than Bitcoin. That's what happened in these previous cycles here, and you might not be aware of that. Okay. So I want to make sure that I showed that to you guys. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. So I want to make sure that I show this to you. There's also a seasonality. So you'll see here, this is called altcoin season index. Okay, you can Google this. Many different websites have this tool. This one's blockchaincenter.net. You could just type in altcoin season index and you'll see this rainbow colored chart that is preloaded on here. So what ends up happening is basically, I just showed you that sometime after the election, within a few months, Bitcoin stops becoming dominant and all these alternative coins, these altcoins, start running higher. And what this is showing you is when we cross into this area here, okay, when we go above this line using this altcoin season index, that's probably going to happen around December or January. And if you come look at this chart in a few months, you'll probably see that it's rallied upwards and this index will reach around 70, 75, probably around Christmas time. Okay. That's going to mean we're going into that altcoin season where people start converting some of their Bitcoin into these other coins that look cheap and haven't run up as much yet. Okay. So I want to make sure that I show you these tools, and I'm going to keep bringing these up during my weekly sessions with you guys. I'm going to keep showing these and pointing these out to you. And in the next 2-3 months, hopefully I'm going to show you that the altcoin season is here and we just hit 75. Hopefully that happens by December. Okay. And you could see that this is showing you that metric. Okay. So I want to make sure that you're seeing these tools that I'm using in the background and that I'll share with you. And I've just showed you when I think they're going to go up in value. And I showed you a way to track the Bitcoin dominance along with the altcoin season and how these things will produce a signal around probably December or January. And that's when we're going to see a lot of these alternative coins probably take off like they have in the past. Okay. And again, you could see crypto alt seasonality. This is a chart I got from one of the experts I follow. And you could just see in 2020 here, right? This is the end of 2020 right there. Look what happened here. We went up a whole bunch right there. And we're kind of expecting that to happen again with these altcoins. Altcoin season happens a few months after the election, typically. Okay, trying to show you the pattern recognition of what's happening here in multiple different ways. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we already ran over 10 p.m. here. I'm trying to fit in a lot all at once here. I promised you I'd go over meme coins a little this week. I'm going to go into them in way more detail next week, obviously, because we're running out of time here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just explain to you meme coins. They don't do anything. It's like a picture of SpongeBob or Pepe the Frog. And hopefully you did your homework last week and you watched the movie Dumb Money with Seth Rogen. That was your homework last week. Go watch it on Amazon Prime for free or whatever other services you have. Watch Dumb Money if you haven't already. It'll show you what happened to GameStop in 2021, and that's what's happening with meme coins. Even Dogecoin in 2021, that was a meme coin. It went from like 9 cents to 73 cents right after the election. Okay. Right now, I believe we're going into another one of these situations. And I'm going to show you a meme coin I bought today. Last week, I was talking about SPX 6900. And I'll just quickly pull up SPX 6900. Again, it's just a meme coin. And I'm going to convert this to a candle chart because I just kind of prefer those ones. But basically, this is a meme coin that would be considered somewhat risky, but it's just kind of holding flat sideways, waiting to go higher from what I'm seeing here. And I'm going to show you that after a big rally, sometimes people take profits, and then the next portion of the rally comes on your chart. Okay. And that's what I think is going to come with SPX. Actually, let me show you this is the chart I use here. When you type in SPX 6900, this one here with the green symbol, CoinEx, that's the one I use. And you'll see some of the drawings I've done here. And I'm showing how we had a profit-taking rally right there. And I believe that we're going into the next section of the rally now, potentially, okay? If we go above this red line right there, it could lead to that next portion of the rally. And that again, it's risky. I don't have nearly as much money in this as Bitcoin or Solana. It's a more risky play. So here's one I bought today. Okay, again, do your own research. I didn't put a ton of money into it. I just want to point it out to you. So it's kind of a similar reasoning to the SPX one or some of the other ones. We have this big downtrend it's coming out of. It went up 71% in one day, 18% in one day. You know, over here it went up 5% the other day, 3 days in a row. And now we have this profit taking kind of pullback that's happening. Um, I'm buying this one with a small amount of money. And I believe that if Bitcoin and altcoin season comes in the next month or two here after the election, that some of these can get pulled up again with it. Okay. And I want to zoom out and just show you that this one, this one was worth $27 a couple years ago. Okay. When they started hiking interest rates and doing all that stuff, it crashed with all the cryptos. This thing came down. It was $27, $28 at one point. This is why I'm telling you they're risky. They do crash eventually. So you don't have to touch these at all. You could totally avoid the meme coins and not touch them at all. But what I'm planning to do is use my charting skills, and I'm going to give strategy in future sessions on when I'm planning to take profits on these and how I'm going to gauge those. I'm trying to catch it when it's breaking out of this downtrend. It was trapped under this line, under this downtrend for a long time. Now we're about to go into altcoin season. We're about to go into meme coin season. And this just broke out of that downtrend just in time for the post-election banana zone rally. Okay. Again, this is just one little crypto. I have a smaller amount of money in it, but you know, there's a resistance level up here around $2.65. Even if it just goes there in the coming months, that would be double or triple my money. So again, I'm not going to promise you that will happen. I think a lot of these coins are about to take off personally. And this is one that I just got into freshly because I saw a big breakout. It's not in that bear trend anymore. And then people just simply took profits because it went up so much. I don't consider that a crash. It's just a big profit taking movement. And the SPX 6900 did that recently as well. Okay, so again, this is just something that I've added into my tool belt. And you'll remember last week I told you that I added to my SPX 6900 position for the same reason. It went up, there was a profit taking rally, and I added to my position when it was down here. Okay, I added to my position when it crashed down there. And now you'll notice I'm already up on my position again. Okay, SPX 6900 has already gone up. I was adding to my position somewhere over here. I'm already up 35% from when I added to my position recently. Okay. And I'm hoping that ApeCoin will kind of turn around like this one and, you know, continue going upwards in the back half of this year onwards as we go into altcoin season and meme coin season and the banana zone rally all at the same time. Okay. Again, these are riskier. I put way less money into these ones. If you don't like risk, you know, you don't have to touch them. Do your own research. Don't blame me if you lose money on them. If you make money on them, you get to keep the money too. So you make your own decisions on that stuff. Okay. Now I just threw a lot at you. Next week, I'm going to go way deeper in the meme coins. I'm going to give a list of what I own, what I'm watching. You can screenshot it, you can write them down, and you'll know the ones that I'm specifically watching. I showed you that I just got into ApeCoin. People in the regular group are not seeing that. And if I were to get out of ApeCoin in a month or two, I'll show you why and when and explain it on the chart strategically why. Okay. And how I'm doing my exiting. And we'll get into way more particulars in my strategy. I'll open us up to the group now. Feel free to make comments. Was there something that was like a light bulb moment where you learned a lot today? Is there a part that really confused you and you want to ask me a question on it? Feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask me questions or make comments, guys. I don't mind hanging around a little bit for you. Okay. You have me here live, so take advantage and ask me questions if you want.
Mike, with your micro strategy or coin, do you just play the stock or do you buy calls or puts or on those? Do you do options or
I do. I do options. I mean, I took an options training course from a specialist years ago, and I've been doing stock options for like 5 years now. So I do them. I will be willing to go over how I do some of my options in future sessions. Like I don't mind covering many different topics for you guys. Um, so I don't mind doing that and explaining, I guess, how I do them. Obviously, if you know nothing about stock options, it might go over your head. That's why I do my training course. I have a November training course where I teach stock options and chart analysis at a high level. Here, I'm not going to do as much as I do in my course here because we have a lot to go over. But if Gino, if you're already into stock options and you understand the basics, I'll kind of help you understand what I'm doing and
yeah,
let you know how I'm handling that stuff.
sure. Thanks.
Okay. So yeah, so I have call options on MicroStrategy right now, and I've made quite a bit in the past week or two. And Bitcoin just went over 68,000 tonight. It was only 67,000 on Friday. So MicroStrategy, if Bitcoin stays where it is or whatever, I should be up Monday morning again. I'm hoping that's what happens here. It looks like William Young raised his hand there. You're welcome to unmute if you want to ask a question, William.
Yeah. Uh, Thanks, Mike. So earlier you're showing the chart of SPX to USDT, and you shaded like the blue area. That's where you brought it. You bought into XPS after the trend line break. Is that what you did,
Uh, yeah,
or was it
so
before? Yeah.
I just bought it arbitrarily. I didn't necessarily wait for a
Okay.
breakout because I'm already expecting this rally and this seasonality coming or whatever. Um, but obviously someone could wait for a little break of that trend or add to your position again after it breaks that trend if you're buying in chunks. It kind of just shows the directional change that it's trying to make. Again, if we have some war or COVID that comes out of nowhere tomorrow, then the chart will drop,
Hmm.
right? But if everything goes according to plan, it's already starting to go up. And I showed you the stock to flow model going red to orange. I showed you how the global money supply is going up. It's all leading towards a rally right now. And SPX, it's breaking out and turning upwards again kind of at the same time, and I was pointing that out to you guys. So yeah, you can buy in chunks arbitrarily and cost average, or you can wait for a signal and just put your chunk in right there. Everyone has a different preference for that. Some people don't even understand charts, so you might not really wait for the chart signal. It kind of depends on the person, but you'll see me posting about these breakouts and these signals, and hopefully doing this, or if anyone's done my course before, you'll get a lot more out of my posts and my charts too.
Okay, so basically before the trend break, that pennant is closing in, then it's just more likely that it's more likely for that trend break, that the green spike up, right?
Yeah,
It's just
so
more
like
likely that's going to happen based
you
on
notice,
the other
you know,
charts.
you'll
Yeah.
notice that we got a huge green candle here
Yeah.
as it broke out of that pattern. So like
Hmm.
to me, that's not a coincidence. That
Okay.
downtrend was broken. There's a bunch of computers and rich people and algorithms and software tracking this, and they have a certain price where like if it goes above 70 cents, buy, and then you get this big green candle. And I think that's what happened here. Um, and now that it's broken out, you'll notice that it's just gone sideways. They're just literally waiting for the election. It literally is just flat sideways and it's waiting for that election and it's waiting for Bitcoin to make an all-time high, at which point this will probably get squeezed up. That's I'm playing the odds here, right?
Okay. Is it considered very risky to say start a position before seeing that a big green candle, because it could go the other way? Yeah.
It it depends on the person. Like for
Yeah.
me, I've been bullish on this stuff and I expect the rally to come. So
Okay.
if I'm buying early, I have a bias that I just think it's going to go higher anyway,
Hmm.
right? If you don't have that confidence, you will perceive that as riskier. So it kind of depends on your experience level in terms of how you're
Okay.
going to interpret that.
All right. Then might as well buy during the consolidation, which is happening right now. I
That's
guess
how
that's considered safer. Yeah.
that's well, for someone that believes that the rally's
Hmm.
coming and you
Yep.
understand the cycle and you're kind of, you
Yep.
personally are sure that it's coming,
Yep.
that's how I look at it. So Canadian real estate investors in the past year or two, if prices dropped, some people are investors in real estate are 100% sure we're going higher in the coming years. So they don't care if they buy early. They'll, go through 2024 and 2023. They don't really care because in
Hmm.
by 2030 it'll be higher in their mind, right?
I see.
That's the way I'm looking at this. I already expected a rally after the ETF application. I already expect a rally after the election. I'm super confident on that, so
Right. Hmm.
I'll just do it early. What'll happen for a lot of regular folks, and what I mean by that is you're not specialized or experienced in Bitcoin. What ends up happening is when everyone around you is making money and you see proof that it makes money for other people, then you want to make money too. That would happen next year if you're waiting for that. Like all your buddies at Christmas and your family's telling you, I just made money on this, I just made money on that.
Yeah, it'll be all-time high by then.
It'll be way
Yeah.
above the all-time high by then.
Hmm.
And that's called a FOMO rally, fear of missing out. So even in real estate during COVID, everyone became a real estate investor.
Hmm.
Everyone became a stock investor because everyone made crazy money in 2020, and then you tag along for 2021 and you have this ridiculous rally in 2021. That hasn't happened yet for cryptos in this cycle. Um, so I'm buying early, and a lot of other people will wait for signals or multiple signals because they fear cryptos or don't understand them. So they wait for all these extra nudges to get in, and then the price is already way higher.
I see. Understood. Thanks a lot.
Okay, good stuff. Um, Anyone else? Just a reminder, guys, too, after this session, or you could wait a few days for November 1st, go to the website, sign up for the crypto boot camp. Again, it's only 150 bucks a month, and I'm gonna do extra content and show you when I'm getting in and out. Again, you go to the website here. Where are we? There we are. Go to the website and investlikemike.com, and you can reserve your spot there. Investlikemike.com. Okay, so when you go to the website, the services tab will explain it to you guys. If you want to refer anyone, just have them contact me and tell me that they were referred by you. I don't mind giving out a gift card. If you click on the store, you can pick the core training course for November or the crypto boot camp, and you can sign up here. You just click subscribe, and through Stripe payment systems, you can pay by credit card securely and safely there. Okay. So make sure that you do that and sign up, and we'll keep doing this specifically for the members. Anyone else, feel free. I'll stick around if you have more questions. Anyone else? Those are really good questions. Anyone else want to ask any more, make a comment?
Hello, Mike.
Yes, who's
Can you
speaking?
hear me? Hey,
Charlie?
I was just wondering, you were mentioning about using Binance
That's one of the bigger exchanges out there for sure. Yeah.
because I tried to sign up to it and it doesn't work in Canada.
Yeah, so I don't use Binance for that reason, but if you're American or had an American bank account, I guess you could. Um, so you can, Canada
I
can
tried to
buy,
use a VPN and that didn't work either.
I'm pretty sure you can use crypto.com, Coinbase, Kraken, Wealth Simple, and NDAX is another one that people have used. Um, but Coinbase and Kraken and Crypto.com are like your big boys, your like popular ones. Tom Brady has football commercials with Crypto.com. Coinbase is officially in the stock market with Kathy Wood and other people owning it. So I use Kraken. I have Coinbase account. It's up to you which one. It's kind of like choosing RBC Bank or TD Bank. Like you can kind of use any of them. Um,
Mhm.
and if you already have been using one and you're experienced with it, that's probably your best bet because you're familiar with the system. Again, in future systems, I'll go through how I use Coinbase or how I use Kraken. I'll post some really good, well done tutorial videos to the group, the private group I'm going to create next week. And people can watch them and learn some of the really basic stuff that maybe other people here are already familiar with.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments, questions? Did I confuse you on any part? We're gonna go over a lot of this stuff again in the future, but I'm exposing you to some of the stuff for the first time here today. So yeah, we got good attendance here again too. That's good. Again, if you guys have referrals, if you refer family or friends in here and they sign up, just have them contact me and tell me that you referred them, and we can work out some kind of a gift card situation or something. And hopefully they benefit from everything here. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. We're gonna come back next week. Remember that you have to like subscribe, and the 2 free sessions are done now. But if you subscribe, stay along with me on the journey. I'll guide you through the whole next year, as confusing as it gets. How am I viewing it? What am I doing? I'm gonna show you everything I own, everything I'm watching next week, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. Okay, so thanks for joining me, guys, the Crypto Bootcamp, and go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you again next week. Take care, guys.